Revenge of the Sith has become one of the most beloved movies these past few years. Many people talk about the Darth Plagueis scene as being one of, if not the best scene in the movie, and while I'm not going to say it's not great because I do think that scene is fantastic, there is one scene that I like just a little bit more. In this video, I talk about what I think is the best scene in Revenge of the Sith. The scene that I feel is the best in this movie is titled Padme's Ruminations. Now, this scene is not really an iconic scene, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of you who are watching this video don't entirely remember this scene. So let me provide the context of what is happening. So after Anakin has learned the truth about Chancellor Palpatine being the secret Sith Lord everyone was looking for, he goes to Mace Windu to tell him. Anakin asks Windu to join him in confronting Palpatine, but Windu tells Anakin to wait in the council room until the matter is dealt with. So Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Aegon Kolar, and Cece Tin leave to go face Palpatine, while Anakin stays behind. It's also important to know what Anakin is currently going through emotionally during this scene. He's having the same visions that he had when his mom died, only with Padme this time, and Palpatine told Anakin that he is the only one that can save Padme from certain death. So what makes this scene so great? On paper, it seems to be like a rather boring scene. Anakin and Padme both stare at each other across Coruscant in silence for about a minute and a half. However, I think the silence of this scene is actually what makes it so great. If you remember from my video about Rey's introduction, I love scenes where you learn a lot about a character without them saying any dialogue. In the prequels, getting scenes without dialogue is actually quite rare. Considering every time a character is really emotional, they usually say how they feel rather than showing it. However, this scene is a textbook example of show, don't tell. George Lucas is able to convey exactly how Anakin feels without him speaking. He begins by sitting in one of the chairs. We hear an echo of what Palpatine said about saving Padme. Now, this echo from Palpatine is the only thing I don't really like about this scene. I just don't think it's that necessary, but one minor flaw doesn't detract from the masterpiece of this scene. So Anakin gets up and stares out the window, and Padme is looking back at him. Just by the language of the visuals, we can tell that they feel each other in some way. Padme doesn't have the Force, but in this moment she knows that Anakin is in pain, and she feels that. Anakin, a man who wears his emotions on his sleeve, is currently contemplating a decision that could affect the life of the woman he loves. The novelization of the movie really adds to what Anakin is feeling. A paragraph from this scene reads, "His agony somehow became an invisible hand, stretching out through the Force. A hand that found her, far away, alone in her apartment in the dark. A hand that felt the silken softness of her skin and the sleek coils of her hair. A hand that dissolved into a field of pure energy, of pure feeling that reached inside her. And now he felt her, really felt her in the Force, as though she could have been some kind of Jedi too. But more than that, he felt a bond, deeper and more intimate than he'd ever had before with anyone, even Obi-Wan. For a precious eternal instant, he was her. He was the beat of her heart, he was the emotion of her lips, and he was her soft words as though she spoke a prayer to the stars. I love you, Anakin. I am yours, in life and in death. Wherever you go, whatever you do, we will always be one. Never doubt me, my love. I am yours." And her purity and her passion and the truth of her love flowed into him, and through him, every atom of him screamed to the Force, "How can I let her die?" This scene really highlights how much pain Anakin is in, and I love this paragraph from the novel so much. The best situations to put a character in are lose-lose situations. A character's true self is shown when they are under extreme pressure, and that is where Anakin is right now. Does he abandon the teachings he's learned for the past 13 years, turn to the dark side and save his wife? Or does he honor everything that has resembled his life since the Phantom Menace and listen to Master Windu, but allow the woman he loves the most to die? We know how hard of a decision this is for Anakin because we know how much he loves Padme, and we saw what happened in Attack of the Clones when he couldn't save his mother. It's tearing Anakin apart. This is not an easy decision, but Anakin does make a decision which reveals his true character. One aspect of the scene that I actually think really works in its favor is that the movie is a prequel. The audience, assuming they've watched the movies in release order, know that Anakin is going to have to fall to the dark side, and we know that Padme has to die because of the conversation Luke and Leia had in Return of the Jedi. Now, one can argue that it being a prequel does ruin the scene because we know what Anakin's decision has to be, but I disagree with this because of something called the bomb theory. The bomb theory was created by Alfred Hitchcock to describe narrative suspense. Here's Hitchcock talking about his bomb theory.
Now let's take the old-fashioned bomb theory. You and I are sitting talking, we'll say, about baseball. We're talking for 5 minutes. Suddenly a bomb goes off and the audience have a 10-second terrible shock. Now, let's take the same situation. Tell the audience at the beginning that under the table and show it to them. There's a bomb and it's going to go off in 5 minutes. And we talk baseball. What are the audience doing? They're saying, don't talk about baseball. There's a bomb under there. But they're helpless. They can't jump out of their seats up onto the screen and grab hold of the bomb and throw it out.
So how does this theory apply to the scene? Well, we know that Anakin will turn. So now there is suspense as to what's going to happen when Anakin confronts Mace Windu and Palpatine. What will happen when Anakin turns to the dark side? These are questions the audience is asking themselves. It's very similar to the penultimate episode of the Clone Wars. We know Order 66 is about to happen, so while it just appears like these characters are talking in safety, we know what's going to happen. We know that Order 66 is about to be executed, so it builds massive suspense for this scene. Now, maybe the most important aspect of this scene is the music. John Williams' score during the scene is so beautiful. It really makes you fear the inevitable. It's a calming piece of music that puts the focus on what the characters are feeling. Nothing else in this story matters in this moment besides what Anakin is thinking. The soothing nature of the soundtrack calms everything down and takes us into this moment. Along with the music, the visuals are so great as well. Coruscant looks beautiful during a sunset, and it is a perfect fit for this scene. The music and the visuals just make this scene that much better. And those are all the reasons why I feel this is the best scene in Revenge of the Sith. Thank you for watching another one of my videos! Please don't forget to like and subscribe as it really does help the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at thegoldman25. On Twitter is where I'm most active, so if you want to see any updates or any future videos, just go there and check me out. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to unite the Claude Squad, and I'll see you guys next time.